Hello, I'm David Curran. I'm a machine learning engineer, and today I'm going to describe a quick method to classify a dataset. So I've talked before about how to improve a dataset once you have one. Here is how to build up a supervised learning dataset for a chatbot where you have utterances and a label for them, and that can then be used to train up your chatbot system. So first thing I recommend you do is to do the Chatbots job just quickly for an hour. You get a set of the utterances people have asked. How you get this, I'll maybe talk about again if people don't have a good idea how you get the data. But get that set of things people have said, ideally the entire conversations or even just the important questions if that's all you've got recorded. Read through these and understand what people are asking about. Try and have some empathy to say, right, how is this person thinking? Why are they thinking like this? Maybe they're using words that the business doesn't use. All this sort of information is really worth doing. So in our example from the GitHub dataset over at GitHub Cave Dave, we have an example of bunnies, and we are going to, let me open this one up. There we are. We have examples of questions that people ask when they're going to try and buy some rabbits in a shop. So I'd have a read through of these and I'd start thinking, like, why is the person asking that? Why is the person, what are they trying to say? What are the sort of things that people worry about in a general way? Maybe 100, but possibly even slightly more than that. Read through, try and figure out what people are trying to do. So once you've done the chatbot's job for an hour, you can move on to the next stage. Next stage is get the spreadsheet and mark up on topics. So what takes loads of time when you're making a data set is if you keep asking yourself a question, is this A or is this B? Is this about health or is this about vet or is this about food? That takes loads of time. What you're much better off doing is changing it so the question you're always asking yourself is this food? Is this food? Is this food? Keep asking yourself one question over and over again. And that sort of batch mode of dealing with questions, you end up much, much faster. So topics are usually sort of nouns and physical things. There's usually about 10 in any domain for a chatbot. So in an airline, there's something like the flight, the seat, the meal. In a bank, it's something like the account, the card, the direct debit. They're not always physical, but if there's something that people are talking about, interacting with, it's a good sign that that might be a topic. Here, Control F is your friend. When you find a word that you think is a topic, go through your data, your spreadsheet of example utterances and just mark off wherever you see it. Oh, look, that is about being a vet. That is about being a vet. That is about a vet. Over and over again. And doing that, you very rapidly get your questions marked up. Some people try and do k-means clustering to find the important words in a data set or some sort of word counting system. And that's fine. It's fairly quick to do, but I think it doesn't save you any time. I think you're much better just trying to read through the data, trying to understand it yourself, because doing a word count that tells you that this word is really common or this word is common, we don't expect it to be common, that's fine, but you'll figure out that yourself from reading through the data anyway, and you won't have to do that at some point. Okay, so let's have an example of what this would be. What size are, actually I might increase the zoom in case that helps people. There we are. What size are the parents? What topic is that? I'm guessing parents. This really is a move fast and break things idea. So you will get this wrong. If you spend a month on it, you'll still get it wrong. You're better off just doing it really fast, paying attention to it, but realizing you're not going to get it right the first time. Parents again. Can I meet the parents? Yep, seems like a parents is a topic to me. Have any problems with the rabbit's parents? Could well be parents. I'm not sure. Possibly it's different. If you can we see the parents? Parents again. What breed are the parents? Parents. So usually what happens is sometimes you get the topics wrong in that you're too general. What you think is one topic turns out to be two things. In airlines, flight is what an airline defines a flight as, and what a person defines a flight as, naming like a ticket, really. These sort of things happen, but just be fast. And then later on, when you're trying to separate out the two kinds of flights, that's quite quick. Whereas at the moment, you're trying to separate out 10, 20 kinds of topics. Just quickly do them. And that way, you'll get to the simpler question of, is this A or B faster? Has the litter not been well? What are they saying? Health? I'm going to guess health. I'm going to guess the word is well. Now, obviously, there's an issue with the word well, where people will well treated. Happens to well, yeah, let's have it again. So I should copy this so I can paste it in fast. Well treated is different. That's treatment. I won't mark it up yet. Yeah, let's have it again. So that one there, we didn't get a huge number of. Only 3 people were asking about the health in that well method. What would like to eat? Eat would be food, I imagine. So let's look up the word eat. Only 2 entries, so treated well. No, not used. Do you have details about the breeding business? That's some sort of certification thing, I'd imagine. People are asking about you as a business. Sort of a meta question. No one else has asked that, not common. Do you have health documentation? Again, it's a bit like cert, but not quite. Maybe we'll have a look for just the actual word health and see how often that's used. How many people have asked about health? 10 people. Health cert. Problems. Ever been unhealthy? So you can see in this sort of way of going through things where you start at the start of a fairly shuffled data set and you go looking for particular topics as they happen, you can very rapidly mark up the topics quite quickly. Your 10 or 15 topics you can go through, and by the time you've gotten to question number 20, you have an awful lot of questions below that marked up. And by the time you get to question 50, you're probably running out of questions that need to have the topics marked up. If you're handed a data set of like 5,000 questions or whatever, I would start with 1,000 or 2,000 and do this process with 1,000 or 2,000. I think it just gets too confusing to do it with 10,000 initially, but it's very rare that happens. Okay, so we've marked up topics, physical kind of things, about 10 to 12, maybe up to 20, but usually you've made a mistake if you're up to 20 of things that are happening in the chatbot dataset. Now, this could be other text datasets as well, but just chatbots are good here because they're quite short to deal with. So next up is after topic, the next thing you want to worry about is the intent. Topic usually is, an intent usually is the topic and a verb. So a seat that someone is picking or they're changing a seat, they're doing something to the topic. The card is being renewed, the card is being cancelled, that sort of thing. So what to do next is, again, remember, try and keep thinking in batch mode. What you'll end up doing then is filtering in your spreadsheet, filtering by a particular topic, and then going through all the parents' questions, all the health questions, looking for a particular verb. So I don't have this fully marked up here, but if you can imagine later on, when you get a filter of, say, health questions, you're going, what are they asking about? Certs of health, or have they been unwell, or do they need to see a vet? Or you can see if there's, or if they've got their vaccines. You can see if there's sort of subtopics inside your main topics. Ideally, if you look for verbs, they tend to be quite good. Now, obviously, there can be sort of synonyms in the verbs. They can be stop an account or cancel an account. They kind of mean the same thing, and you kind of bring them into one thing, obviously. Verbs, I mean actual action, not just the individual verb. So doing this way here, they used to say it took about 15 minutes to get an answer to a question when I was working with Watson. Doing this method here, where you quickly mark up all the topics, then you quickly mark up all the intents or the verbs that are happening to those topics, it goes to well under 5. Then you go to the next stage, because you will have made mistakes. Even if you do this in a laborious, really slow way with 3 people sitting around a table asking what is that intent, you still will make mistakes anyway. So this is just a quick way to get you a classified data set without taking up all of your time. One thing I will warn about is complaints. Make a topic called complaints, stick complaints into it, but there's monsters there because people complain about 2 or 3 things at the same time, so that verb method won't really work. They complain about the food and the seed and the delay. That's what happens. And also, people don't want a bot response to a complaint. This bot sees that you're complaining and it feels your pain. No one wants that. So we'll worry about complaints again, but just be aware that they are a hard topic to deal with. So in order to build a data set, first get your utterances from real users. Really important point. If I do a talk on how to get data again, I'll go into all that. But once you have that data, read through it first. Second, go through, find your topics. Tend to be big sort of nouns that this industry deals with. And thirdly, then go looking for the verbs in those topics. Use Control F to look for words when you find that this is an important word. Use that to mark up. Okay, that's all I have for you for today. So if you have any questions, please ask them in the comments.